Так, мы в эфире. Всем привет, друзья, всем, кто будет смотреть это вживую и всем, кто будет смотреть это в записи. Это такая незапланированная трансляция, но я рад, что она очень удалась. А сейчас я хочу взять интервью моего клиента Бена. Бен – это мой клиент из Австралии, мы сейчас работаем с ним на Upwork, и эта трансляция будет на английском языке, так что я сразу вас призываю, друзья, включать, если это возможно во время трансляции, включать английские субтитры, но в записи в любом случае это будет возможно. Усаживайтесь поудобнее и приятного просмотра. So, Ben, we're going to start. Are you ready?
Yeah, good to go.
Yeah. Okay, you can say hello to all my subscribers. I have a lot of freelancers here, so
Yeah,
you can say hello.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Ben, as I guess Alex has told you, from Australia. So yeah, cool to meet everyone.
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself a little bit more? What do you do? Who are you? About your business, maybe some words.
Yeah. So I have a web design business in Western Australia. I first got into the business about a year and a half ago. I had a landscaping business, and at the time I wanted to build a website, and I didn't really know how to do that, so I went on to Upwork and started using a few freelancers from there. And then a lot of friends wanted websites, so I ended up building websites for friends via Upwork, and yeah, I ended up starting a business doing it. And because I don't know, or when I started, I didn't know all that much about design and development. Upwork was just a great platform because it put me in touch with people like yourself, and yeah, I've been able to build a business from it, which is good because I've been able to help people here in Perth that don't have websites. So it's really fun.
Yeah, great, thank you. You know, it's quite hard to understand your Australian accent, but it's okay. I think I have a Russian accent, so that's okay.
I'll try and talk a bit slower.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first question I have to you: how long have you been working on Upwork as a client? How long?
Yeah. So probably a year or a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So may I ask you, what is the main reason you work there? What is the main reason why you work there on Upwork?
Because you have a very wide range of people that you can work with. And it connects you with people from all over the world. So in where I'm from, in Perth, we're quite limited to who we can work with.
Yeah.
So Upwork just gives you a bigger pool of people, and it's really great because you can get to chat to people and you can do Skype interviews and that sort of thing. So you can really decide who you want to work with. So it's great. Yeah.
As we do right now, Skype interview.
Yeah.
Great. So you're not limited only with people who live in your city, in your country. You can work with everyone in the world. That's why you work at Upwork.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Another question I have to you, as you told me before on our Skype session, you told me that you hire only freelancers from Ukraine. Is it true?
Yeah.
So you live in Australia and you like Ukrainian freelancers. Why? Can you explain why?
So when I first started, I just didn't really know much about Upwork or freelance and stuff. So I was pretty much just hiring people from everywhere, like India, Pakistan, UK, Asia, just anywhere where someone was doing where we got along and they offered a cheap price, I would work with them. But over time, after working with people from all over the world, I quickly realized that the Ukrainians were really good at communicating, often very fluent in English, and their quality of work was very high, and generally just really nice people that I like to work with. So now if I post a job, I pretty much will just cross off anyone that's not from the Ukraine.
Wow, so sweet. Another question I have to you about connected with this one: is it cheap to hire Ukrainians, or it's not very cheap? May I rephrase my question? What is the the average price for freelancer from Sydney, for example, from Australia? Average price.
Average price. I'm not too sure actually, because I've never hired anyone from Australia. Yeah, I'd say it would be maybe 50 Australian dollars or 60 Australian dollars. So in US, that's probably maybe 35 US dollars or something like that. Yeah. I'm not too sure though. Yeah.
So it's interesting for you to hire Ukrainians.
Yeah.
I got it. That's okay. That's business. That's called business. Okay, let's move forward. Another question I have to you: how can I, if we can talk about hiring process, how can I attract you as a client? What profile should I have, or which cover letter should I send to you? What do you pay attention for when you're looking for a right candidate, right freelancers to hire?
So one thing I do is I hide a keyword in my job post. So down the very bottom, I'll write, if during your application, post Cognut as a keyword, because a lot of people will just send you. Yeah. So then that's straight away. If someone hasn't posted my keyword, then I know they haven't read the application. It's just like a template that they've sent me. So that's something I look for. And just that the cover letter has been written so that it's been personalized to what I'm after. It's not just a copy and paste. So I look for that the freelancer is like interested in the job. Like if you were to apply for a job in the Ukraine that you're really excited about, you wouldn't just copy and paste the same cover letter to the same job. You would write it specifically for that job. So that's something I look for.
So you use this tricky thing.
Yeah. It's a good filter to filter people out straight away.
Okay. What else?
Yeah.
What else?
And on their Upwork profile, I look for has to be above 90%, I think, or is it 95? So 90% or 95%
job success.
Yeah. So and fluent in English.
Fluent in English.
Yeah.
But I have a question, but I am not fluent in English. On my profile, I have conversational level of English.
Wow, you snuck through, yeah.
Was it an accident?
Well, I don't know. It's like when we were typing on Upwork, like the conversation was quite free flowing. Like we didn't have to explain things during sentences. So that's, I guess, if it's not fluent in English, then I can still have a conversation with you.
But I think you didn't mention that I am not fluent. On my profile, it is not mentioned that I'm fluent in English. But when we started, before we started our work, we was talking on Skype. That's why you might not mention it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah.
What about cover letter? Do you have some other tricks, or that's all? Only keyword and not copy-pasted template?
Yeah, I quite often ask for like jobs that have been completed that are quite specific to what I'm asking. So if I'm creating a website for like a travel agent, if you have previously made websites for a travel agent and that's in the cover letter, then you definitely, I'd look really hard into your profile. So just things that are specific to the job that has been posted helps a lot. Yeah.
So you often ask to provide some examples of work.
Yeah.
I got it. And what about tests or portfolio on profile? I mean, on Upwork profile.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at that as well. So I always look at the reviews, make sure that they're like 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
And then the Upwork tests, if the freelancer scored well in those, that's a very big bonus as well.
Upwork tests connected with your specialty, or that's not important?
That's not important. Like, yeah, just whatever their advertising they do, if they have scored well in that, then.
Okay. And do you pay attention to education section?
Nah, because I don't understand what most of it is.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, thank you very much for your prompt reply. And I have another and maybe last question for you. I don't want to bother you, but it is very big maybe. So listen carefully. Talking about long-term relationships, I, as a freelancer, I'm looking for long-term clients. I think you're interested in long-term freelancers. It is very comfortable to work on person you know. So what is the key for successful business relationships between both freelancers and clients? I mean, how to build a strong long-term relationship? Do you have some tricks, tips, maybe something?
So communication would be a really big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're wanting to have a long-term relationship, then the communication needs to be quite strong. Because quite often, like, I think a lot of people like myself that are on Upwork looking for freelancers, we all have businesses. So we need someone that's reliable, that will always be there when, obviously our time zones are different. So that's catered, you allow for that. But yeah, if you're talking, you're working through a job, then communication is quite important for long term. And just if you get along well, because you've got to like the person you work with, right? So, yeah. so that's a big thing I look for, and that you just understand like the way each other work. I think that builds with time, but for a long-term relationship to work, you sort of got to have an understanding of how you work, how I work, and then you can sort of work with that. So you sort of know how the processes work and that sort of thing. So, yeah. The biggest thing for you guys out there, though, it would be for me is communication.
So is it important to have some communications talks outside of work? Is it important for you or no?
Like just a Skype call or something to catch up, or
maybe make some friendships.
Yeah, building rapport, that sort of thing. That definitely would help. Like a few guys I work with, I'm friends with on Facebook and stuff, and we sort of like comment on each other's photos and that sort of thing. So that's good for long-term relationship because you're building that friendship outside of your work, which goes a long way as well.
Thank you. I got it. That's it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. But I have a few questions from our subscribers. Is it okay?
Yeah.
I will read it for you. I have one question. Ben, what do you think about situation where freelancer work on hourly rate and often use Google Translator or Google search for some tasks? What do you think about it?
Oh, what was that? Sorry, I mixed it up with your accent. I couldn't understand it fully.
I can repeat. Yeah. Okay. First part of question. What do you think about situation where freelancer works on hourly rate?
Okay. Yeah.
No. Works on hourly rate and use Google Translator or Google search. During our contract.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I prefer to work on a per job basis, but an hourly rate can easily be negotiated if you can give like maybe a quote of the hours it's going to take, just a rough estimate, because I've already quoted to the client how much a job's going to cost.
Yeah.
So then I sort of need to keep it within that budget. So to have an idea roughly of what it would be would be okay if it was still going to be an hourly rate. Did that answer the question?
Not yet. Not exactly. Not exactly. I can repeat. Maybe that's my fault. What do you think about the situation when freelancer works on hourly rate and use Google search when he works? So you will receive as a client a screenshot of Google, for example. So what do you think about this situation? So is it normal that freelancer doesn't know some tips and he search for it? I think personally, I think that's okay. But what do you think?
Yeah, okay. I did not answer that question at all. No, I think that's fine. That's all good, because you never know everything, and it's part of doing your job is working out how to do it correctly. And I've got no problems with that at all. If the work gets done, then I'm happy. I don't. Doesn't matter if you have to search Google for hours to work out how to do it. As long as it gets done, then I'm happy. So yeah,
so the main priority is the result.
Yeah.
Thank you. You answered. I think that's it. We have one question, because it's early morning. It's morning in Ukraine, so a lot of people on work, but that's okay. Yeah. We have the last question. Ben, people from what countries or regions do you prefer? But I think you already answered only Ukraine. You don't work with anyone who is outside of Ukraine.
Not really. I do have a guy from Romania. He was one of the very, very first people I worked with, and he's really good. Other than that, I pretty much just Ukraine. Just through trial and error, I've just found Ukrainians just to be the best. So it's just saves a lot of hassle.
Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much one more time. Let's continue our work. It is evening in Australia right now.
Yeah, it's nearly 6 p.m.
6. Okay. So, спасибо всем, ребята, за просмотр. Бен очень был рад поприсутствовать с вами. Я немножко его оторвал от работы, так что он сейчас не понимает, что мы говорим, и улыбается. Thank you, Ben, one more time, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, no worries. Pleasure to meet you, all the people out there. So, yeah.
Bye-bye.
See ya.